People are still coming in, hot and heavy. Okay, gang, I see some of you are driving. Some of you I know, some of you are my one-on-one clients. Some of you are inner circle members, and some of you are in my organization at EXP. And some of you were just invited to join the call, and I'm grateful to have you here and excited to add value to your life. What I'd like you to do is just quickly in the chat, type your name, your email address, and what your primary market is. If you know that I know you, you don't need to do that. But if you're not sure that I know you, please type in your email address and your primary market. We're adding to a roster of referrals. So we're generating leads all over the country, and we're distributing those leads to agents that are in my network, in my sphere, on my list. And if you'd like to benefit from that, give me your email and what market you're in. Okay, everybody cool with that? So we'll give you a second to do that. And then we're going to show you how to book an appointment in under 2 minutes. Who's up for that? Who doesn't believe that's possible? Does anybody not believe that's possible? How many of you have talked to a buyer or seller in the last week and you're like, holy shit, I was on the phone with them for 20 minutes. I hear that all the time. If you're on the phone with a buyer or seller for 20 minutes, you're being more reactive than you are purposeful and intentional. And today, my goal is to help you become more purposeful and intentional. And when you're more purposeful and intentional and you follow a process, you will get better results. So we'll do that. So for those of you that joined in late, we're building our referral directory, and we'd love to add you to it. Please make sure we have your email and your primary market, and we'll add you to that referral directory. So thanks for joining. Got one more coming in. Okay. David, you just joined. Please put your email in the chat with your primary market. We're adding to a referral directory, and we'd love to have you, David. So make sure that we have your email and your primary market, and we'll get you all added to the referral directory. Okay, fantastic. So for those of you who've been in my training before, this will be a great repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. I always talk about athletes, you know, skiers, golfers, tennis players, football players, hockey players. How much do you think they practice? They practice a lot, right? They practice their skills a lot. And depending on how far up they want to go with success, they practice probably since the age of 5. They've been practicing. I don't know why this is distracting me. They practice, early on, and repetition is the mother of skill. I also want to point out that it's not practice that makes perfect. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. And you can do the right things in the wrong order. And when you do the right things in the wrong order, you get catastrophic results. So we'll talk about that today. I'm going to give you an overview, and then I'm going to show you how to book an appointment in less than 2 minutes, both buyer and seller side. We have for those of you who are guests here today, we'll send you the buyer and seller script that we're going to reference here today. People don't like scripts. I don't like scripts. I like to use scripts as a study document to practice, to internalize, to rehearse. And then when it's game time, we don't have time to think, right? I use the example of my son, who's a quarterback. When he's practicing, I see him do this. And Landon is a former quarterback. Landon, you know what I'm talking about. Your elbow is here. Like, there's so many different mechanical moves of throwing a football. Landon could probably do a better job demonstrating this than I can. But I watch my son practice. And Landon, when you practice throwing footballs, what are some of the things that you do? Can you just demonstrate in the video?
Oh yeah, you gotta practice on having an L form with your hand, right? You got to practice gripping the ball correctly.
So you don't fumble it, right? Yep.
Yeah. And then you got to focus on following through, getting the hand to the opposite pocket. There's a lot of things that you practice, but once the game starts, you know,
you're not thinking about it, right? So Tony Robbins, my coach and trainer, thank you, Landon, really great example. We need to, you know, early on in my career, I practiced all the time, every day. It takes somewhere about 10,000 hours to master something. So that you get unconsciously competent. So we practice, and then when it's showtime, you know, we can't be thinking about it. If Tony says that if you're in your head, you're dead, you might want to write that down. If you're talking to a buyer, you're talking to a seller, and you're thinking, you're screwed. It's going to cost you the appointment. Appointment's going to cost you the client. Not getting the client's going to cost you the sale. So for you you newbies, or people that are, you know, under $10 million in volume a year, you know, under 20 sales a year, it's not a shortage of leads. It's not a shortage of leads. You might think that you have a shortage of leads, but think about how many people you talk to in the course of a year, how many appointments you book or don't book. Most people doing less than $10 million in volume, which by the way is decent production, right? That's $250,000 in commission income. Who thinks that's pretty good? But I'm not interested in pretty good. I'm interested in helping you become great and making 500,000, 700,000, 800,000 in commissions, and then scaling it if you so choose. So we want to optimize the conversion. When you talk, you know, if you're talking to 10 people and you get one appointment, your conversion for lead to appointment is 10%. Everybody should be tracking that, by the way. And if you're tracking what your conversion is from lead to appointment, and you follow what I tell you to do, what I instruct you to do, without a doubt, with absolute certainty, your conversion will go up. Just as Landon will throw the football better, he's a freaking amazing quarterback. I've got to see him play. Highly skilled, really good, college athlete. Just decided, hey, I'm going to go kick ass and sell real estate instead. All good. I'm excited to have him because he's coachable. If somebody can teach Landon to throw a football, I can certainly teach him how to talk to a buyer and talk to a seller. And that's my goal here today. We don't want to wing it. So let's talk about not only what to do, which we're going to spend most of the call on, but let's talk about what not to do. Who, by a show of hands, who believes that it's equally beneficial to know what not to do as what to do? Like, let's avoid common mistakes. So common mistake number one, winning on personality. You know, people told me, hey, you'd be really great at real estate. You've got a great personality. You're outgoing, you're assertive. Who's heard that? It's not enough. There's a lot of real estate agents in your market. Everybody knows 2 or 3. So, and there's a lot of nice people, great personalities in the business. You guys interact with them every day. They're good people. So trying to win on personality, you need to throw that to the curb. That's not the secret to success. The other big mistake is not making an offer or offers to your prospect. I'll give you an example outside of real estate. I'm currently hired as a consultant to a private high school, a Catholic high school, and it's very competitive, and they want to increase attendance. And they don't have a process for converting the call to a visit to the high school. Who thinks that if you're going to go to a high school, if you're going to interview a $15,000, $20,000 high school, you might want to see the high school? So the real simple thing is, hey, when would be a good time to get you to the high school, to show you the high school? They make an offer. So most agents fail to make an offer, and we're going to kill that today. I'm going to give you 4 offers for the buyer, 4 offers for the seller. And if that doesn't work, God couldn't get the appointment. And that's just the honest truth. They're not motivated. They're not ready. There's something going on. But if you make these offers and they're a real buyer, they're a real seller, it works every single time. So the don'ts, don't try to win on personality. Don't not make an offer. The opposite of that is make an offer. And the third big mistake that agents make is they qualify. They ask too many freaking questions. And they talk too much. Okay, your call with a lead should be 2 minutes. Here's another thing that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't work for free. Who believes that? You should not work for free. So if you're talking to a buyer and they go, you know, this is what we're looking for, and you sound really nice, and can you send us listings? And you say, oh, sure, I can. And you send them listings, you are working for free. Knock that shit off. We're not working for free anymore. You guys all good with this? And when I say guys, gals, everybody's good with this. So that's what we're not going to do. We're never going to make those mistakes. On the flip side, and said differently, asking lots of questions, qualifying questions. When I say asking questions, asking too many questions, I'm referring to qualifying questions. The goal of the call is to get a face-to-face appointment. That's it. Nothing more. It's not to build rapport. It's not to make a relationship. It's not to get their email and address so you can send them postcards and send them a handwritten thank you note. That's not the goal of the call. The goal of the call is to get an appointment. If you qualify before you get the appointment, you're leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. So are you working with a realtor? That's a qualifying question. Are you pre-approved? That's a qualifying question. Have you seen any other homes you like? How soon are you looking to move? All of those are self-serving questions prior to setting the appointment. Don't do that. It reeks of commission breath. Okay, let me just give you an example, because when we're working on our business like this today, it makes so much sense. And you go, oh my God, I've been doing it the wrong way for years. Well, we're going to fix that really quick. So imagine this happens all the time in the industry. I witness it. I mystery shop agents. I mystery shop big teams. I call their agents. I pretend I'm a lead. I go, hey, I'd like more information on this house on 123 Oak Street. Is the backyard fenced? Or what's the price? Or does it have a first floor master? Like a typical buyer would call, they have a question about the property. And the agent goes, are you pre-approved for a mortgage? Does that make sense, gang? That's just going to piss them off. Are you working with a realtor? Well, if you like the house, are you prepared to buy it today? This shit goes on in our industry. It's ludicrous. So I'm not going to beat that horse to death. I think I made my point. I'm going to show you what to do instead. We're still going to get all the answers to all those questions, and we're going to do it in a way that makes a whole lot of sense, that isn't pressure filled, that the buyer or the seller that you're talking to who just booked an appointment with you, now it makes sense. Hey, I'm meeting with you. It makes sense that you're asking these questions. Everybody got that? Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, fantastic.
Brian, just one quick one. I get the appointment. That's the goal. But so if you don't ask them if they have a buyer agency agreement with someone else.
Not until you get the appointment.
Okay.
Now, if they have a buyer agreement with someone else, David, they're going to resist the appointment. They're going to resist your offers.
Right.
So I'll show you what to do, but do not ask self-serving questions until you book the appointment. All right. And I'll give you the, since David said that, if I make my offer, because this isn't part of my script, if I make my 4 offers to a buyer and they still say no, and they volunteer, you know what, David? I have an agent that I'm working with. And they didn't tell you, they don't say I've signed a buyer agency agreement. I have an agent that's helping me. Well, that's fantastic. If I found you a great, incredible, amazing deal that met all your criteria, would it be okay to share it with you? So if you're not driving, write that down, take notes. If I found you a great, incredible, amazing deal that met all your criteria, would it be okay to share it with you? What do you think the buyer's going to say? They're going to want to use you. They're going to say, yes, of course you can share it with me. And you're going to say, well, just to be clear, you're not obligated to another agent, are you? Meaning you haven't signed anything preventing me from helping you, have you? Oh, fuck, I signed a buyer agency agreement with ABC XYZ. Well, then I think you should reach out to them because I'm not able to help you. It's a breach of our code of ethics. You're working with someone else. You need to continue to work with that person. But I'm always going, because what I want to do, David, is if I don't get an appointment or they're working with someone else and they responded to one of my ads or they came into my mousetrap through my website, I want them scratching their head, doubting the agent that they have, right? Maybe I don't win the buyer because they've signed with someone else, but I want them going, frick, I screwed up, so that they remember me in the future. They tell other people about me, and I'll walk you through this in the script. So great question. So no questions. Is everybody clear? Write this down in your notes. No questions, no qualifying questions, especially until they've agreed to meet with you. Okay, so these are my scripts. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to email them to you. So if you're in my email, if you put your email and your marketplace in the chat, I will email these scripts to you. These are only a couple of components of the training that we do, but they're very, very important components. So I've got a seller script and a buyer script. This should say buyer script, not seller. So I'm not going to go through the whole script. I'll send them to you. But I will demonstrate what the goal is here. The goal, and I'm looking right into the camera, so I want you to know I'm not reading anything. But when you get these scripts, your job is to commit them to memory. Now I want you to think about this. This is not hard to do. It's a 1.5-page script. Each script has 4 offers. 4 offers for the buyer, 4 offers for the seller. How long will it take you to memorize, internalize 4 offers?
About a week.
A week at the most, right? If I held a gun to your head and said, I'm going to pull the trigger in 24 hours if you don't have this committed to memory, how many of you could memorize it? That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. I want you to understand this. I have friends that are actors and actresses, and they memorize a script that's 400 pages in a week, and then internalize it, stand in front of a camera, and then deliver. And when you watch a movie, it doesn't sound scripted because they've internalized it. So your homework, if you're serious about your business, if you want to make more money, if you're going to be in this business for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years or longer, who thinks that we should learn that? If Landon wanted to play high school football, he should learn how to grip a football, how to get his arm in an L position. I forgot that one, Landon. You know, bring it back, up. I don't even know how to do it because I've never practiced it, but I know there's components to it.
You got it.
I got it. Maybe I should consider a new career. I think I'll stick with my day job. Okay, so cool. All right, so buyers, write this down. Here are the 4 offers. Everybody in real estate does pretty much the same thing. But we need to package what we do and sell it better than anybody else. And most people wing it, so this is very easy to conquer. Because most people wing it, this is really, really easy to conquer. So your first offer for buyers, let's take notes, buyers. First offer to a buyer is, we're going to ask them, this is not a qualifying question. The only question I ask a buyer, I ask two questions and neither of them are qualifying. One is, are you only interested in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, or are you looking in other areas as well? Are you only interested in this house or are you interested in other great deals? So everybody, the first question when a buyer calls me is this or that. So, or I call them back, hey, I saw you were on my website looking at homes in Nashua. I'm curious, are you only looking in Nashua? Or are you open to Hudson, Merrimack, Litchfield, Amherst, Hollis? If I could find you some great, I'm open to all, that's all Southern New Hampshire. Yeah, those are all great. Or they say, no, I only want Nashua. Either way is good. And my script is universal, meaning you'll never step on a landmine. You'll never do anything that implodes on you. So we get them to say, I'm only interested in this house, or I'm only interested in this area, or I'm open to others. Everybody good with that? Very easy. Then we make our first offer. So they want to know all about this house. They go, hey, how many bedrooms, how many baths? Does this have an upgraded kitchen? Does it need work? I'll be happy to get you all that information. I'm curious though, are you only interested in this house or are you open to other great deals as well? No, we only want this house. Now, when they say that, I want your brain to say bullshit. Because there isn't a buyer on the planet that wouldn't be open to another great deal. Who agrees with me? Show of hands. So when they say, I'm only interested in that one, go. So just to be clear, if I found you another property that was superior than this one, met your criteria better than this one, and was priced better, would it be okay to show it to you? Who's going to say yes? What do you got? Yes, what do you got? So that's us controlling the process. So I go, well, let me tell you what I got. And here's the first offer. It's your Buyer Advantage program. And your Buyer Advantage program is the MLS, but we don't say the MLS because the public knows that everybody has the MLS. So I renamed the MLS my proprietary exclusive Buyer Advantage program. And if I know where you're looking, what price range, what style, what amenities are important to you, I can give you instant, real-time priority access. It's like a backstage pass to all the great deals in the area that match your criteria, with interior, exterior photos, days on market, and other useful seller information. Would that be helpful? I see some of you writing really fast and furious. I'm going to give you this transcribed. So take notes. The first offer is the Buyer Advantage program. That's what you need to know. And you need to be able to articulate it the way that I did and sell the shit out of it. If they say, well, we're not really ready yet, we're just in the early stages, I got to talk with my spouse, blah, blah. If they don't say yes, you're going to ask a setup question. Write this question down. So they go, I got to talk to my husband. I got to talk to my wife. We're not ready yet. We're not doing anything for a year. Oh, here's another don't. Never judge your leads. Never. If somebody tells you we're not doing anything for a year, what you hear is a waste of my time. I'm not getting paid. I need money now. Don't judge your leads. I've sold tons of buyers' houses within 30 days that told me they were a year, 18 months out. So you just want to go through this process and move them along. I married my wife. She told me she wasn't interested in a relationship. She didn't want to date anybody. Okay, I just move it along the process. We keep adding value. I got lucky in that case. So back to the buyer. So the buyer says, we're not really ready. So here's the setup question. No problem. When the timing's better for you next year, when you're ready, when you're thinking about that time, is getting a good deal important to you? Yeah, that's really important. Well, the best time to do that is when there's no pressure. And now I'm going to make my second offer. Our Buyer Advantage program will give you access to these types of deals. So the second offer is types. The first offer is Buyer Advantage Program. The second offer is types. What types of homes, what types of motivation is in the MLS? There are people that are going through divorce. There are people that are downsizing and have to sell. There are people who have bought a home and need to get rid of their home. There are price reductions in the MLS. There's bank foreclosures in the MLS. There's corporate-owned properties in the MLS. There's probate and estate properties in the MLS. So we're going to use types to sweeten the offer. And I'm going to say, that's fine. But since you are looking, I just want you to know that our Buyer Advantage Program will deliver all the properties that match your criteria as I described, including bank foreclosures, corporate-owned properties, distressed sales, probates, estates, sellers in trouble, recent price reductions, people who are forced to sell their home by the court, government seized homes, properties reduced by 15, 20% or more. So if getting a good deal to you is important to you, can you see the advantage of getting access to these types of homes? Who thinks that's pretty compelling? If you were a buyer, you'd say yes. And that's all we want. If they're a buyer, they're going to say yes. Now, I want just a little side note. When you're talking to a buyer, it's never about buying. It's about looking. See, when I was talking to my wife, it wasn't about getting married. It was about going for coffee. Does everybody see when there's less risk, you get more yeses? So if you are vomiting about buying, well, we'll get you a really good deal when you own a home and you assume the close and you do this shit on the phone, you're killing conversion. So on the phone, it's only about looking. Which brings me to my third offer. You know what the best part of this is, Luke? There's no obligation to buy a home or even look at a home. No obligation to buy a home or even look at a home. It doesn't sound like you're in a huge rush and there's no urgency, so we don't need to get together today. Got your calendar handy? How about one day next week where we get you set up? We just send you listings and only listings that match what you're looking for. No harm in that, right? It's a free service. It's better than what you're currently doing. And it's free. If they still say no, here's my fourth offer. And I'll ask this question, which is not a qualifying question. It's, can I ask you, Corey, how are you looking at property now? How are you finding homes? Zillow, Realtor.com. Okay. And are you finding that when you call on properties, they're under agreement or they're no longer available? Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, it happens a lot. You know why? Because you're late to the dance. By the time a property gets to Zillow or Realtor.com, everybody knows about it. If you want to cut the line, it's like being at Disneyland. You see the long line to get into Magic Kingdom. But I give you a VIP pass. You're in the VIP lane and you can walk right to the front of the line. If you want to find out about homes as soon as they become available, that's what our program does. And in today's market, have you heard about the shortage of inventory? It's really a great solution. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help you. Well, it sounds really good. Great. When can we get together? When can we get together? Book the appointment. Okay, how's tomorrow at 4? How's next Monday at 3 or 5? Great, you book the appointment. Then you qualify. Now, you don't have to memorize the qualifying questions, but I do want to point this out. You don't have to memorize these, but I do want you to do this. So once the appointment is set, that's when we qualify. And who thinks that how we qualify, what we say matters, right? Like if I say, how much cash do you have? That's kind of repulsive, right? How much cash do you have for down payment? That's obnoxious. Don't say that. How you say it matters. We can get the same results with some good bedside manner. So I go real quick so that I can locate the best deals and match what you're looking for and do a great job when we get together. Let me ask, what areas are you looking in? And you're going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to ask nine questions if they don't own a home, 10 questions if they own a home. I'll send you this script. You're going to ask them just the way this is. You're going to read those questions. It's not going to sound scripted. And what that does, the reason I have 10, some of you are like 10 questions. None of you are asking 10 questions. That's why I win. Because this is where the winning begins. Right on the telephone, after I book the appointment, I'm demonstrating I am more thorough than anybody they've ever spoken to. Who thinks that's a good strategic objective? So I want you to understand why I do that. It's not because I'm looking for more shit to do. I want to win the client when I meet with them. So I'm setting them up for winning, for me to win by asking all these questions, by demonstrating how thorough I am. Is this helpful? Is this making sense? Who's got some good tips already out of the first half of the call? Awesome. Awesome. Good little distinctions. And repetition's the mother of skill. Here's what I'd like you to do. When you get this script, I want you to record it into your phone. I want you to listen to it. I want you to play it back. I want you to read it, record it, read it, record it, read it, record it, then put it away and don't read it, and then just deliver it. And then match your recording up with the script and go, oh, fuck, I forgot that. I forgot to put my arm in an L. The coach will tell you, right? But you can coach yourself. You can record it. It's like watching film. Landon, did you ever watch film in football?
Of course.
Who thinks that this is more important than high school football?
Definitely.
It's your life. It's your career. It's your income. It's your bread and butter. So if you're going to watch hours of film in a sport in high school, you should probably spend some time mastering your skills here. And gang, you only need to be a little bit better than your competition and you'll crush it. Okay, any questions on the buyer side? I'm going to switch over to the seller side.
Yeah, hi, Brian. Question. Let's say the prospect doesn't want to meet in person. Is it all right to suggest a video conference like Zoom, or how would you address that?
I wouldn't. Because I want to review. So they're gonna want to look at homes, right? Rarely does a buyer make an offer. It happens, but it's not common. So I'm all about probability and statistics. What would be a reason they don't want to meet with you?
I spoke with someone who was having some health issues. and
Okay.
For that reason, they didn't want to get together.
Yeah. So are those health issues going to prevent you from looking at homes?
Well, this individual wasn't ready to start looking at homes at this point.
Okay, then it would be premature to start sending you listings, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's a great question, James. I just want to control the process. And, this has always served me. Just get curious. Don't be confrontational, but be curious. So I was curious. Hey, are these health issues going to prevent you from looking at homes? No, I'm going to be better in 2 months. And that's when we want to look at homes. Oh, okay, well, anything I would send you today isn't going to be available in 2 months. So I will call you back in 2 months and we'll get you set up to receive these foreclosures. See, I want to have them preemptive to work with me and not somebody else. So yeah, it's great question, but no, I wouldn't meet with a buyer over Zoom.
Can I add to this too? I have the same question, except I've been getting it quite a lot. I think it's because of the COVID. A lot of companies went online, and now people are saying, okay, well, if you want to sit together and go over my buying criteria, and just like, why can't we just do it on Zoom, on Google? Like, what's the difference between meeting online and just doing this versus doing it in person, especially when commute times are so long. Like people are so used to just meeting on Zoom. So I've been getting this quite a lot recently.
So
So
here's how I'd respond to it. What I found works best, what I have found works best is we meet in person and we review your criteria together. There's over 100 different search fields for a property. And what works best is in person. And if you want access to bank foreclosures, corporate owned properties, distressed properties, price reductions, probates and estates, then we need to get together. And if you just want to work with some rando agent, maybe they're happy to work with you on Zoom. See, I'm not attached to it. And I've created, you know, do you know what the competition's going to say? There aren't any foreclosures. I'm telling them there are foreclosures. And then when we get together and I go through my buyer presentation and I sign them up to a buyer agreement, and then I print out the 4 homes, if I'm lucky, that match their criteria because of the shortage of inventory, because they've given me such specific criteria. None of those are foreclosures, but those are the 4 properties that best match their criteria. So if they challenge me on it and go, geez, none of these are foreclosures. Well, we have access to all the properties in the entire state of Texas. But you told me you want Frisco, you don't want anywhere else, you need 4 bedrooms, you need a 3-car garage, you need this price range, you don't want a fixer-upper, you want something under 20 years old. When I put that criteria in, you see, I'm not putting criteria in for foreclosures, I'm putting their criteria in. Does everybody understand that? And that's what you got. And by the way, should any new properties come on the market, including foreclosures, including price reductions, any changes to the market, you'll be the first one to get them. Works like magic. Great questions. Great questions. And I don't deviate from my process, because when I deviate from, I'm not trying to convert 100%, James. I think it was James who asked that, or Shah who asked that question. I'm not trying to get 100%. I'm not fighting with people. I can generate so many leads that I can pick and choose who I work with. And if somebody doesn't want to follow my process, F them. Has everybody got me? F them. If I call my doctor and say, hey, can we do a meeting over Zoom? They're like, dude, what works best is we get together. You come into the office. So it's just the way that I do it. And I want you to stick to your guns and not be attached to the outcome. Really good questions. Okay, let me fly through the seller side, because this is great. And I want to make sure you have the 4 offers. We'll also send you the script to memorize, and then the qualifying questions. You do not have to memorize the qualifying questions, but you should have a printout in your car, in your briefcase, one at your office, one at your home. Anytime you'd ever take a call, you need to have your qualifying questions ready, because it starts to differentiate you from the competition. And gang, here's what's beautiful about this. As you probably can tell, not to be boastful, I've mastered this. I'm not reading this. I've got the 4 offers down. I do it over and over again. I'm following a process. When you follow a process, you get really good at it. But then I could train my team members. I could hire a brand new agent, teach them this process, and they did it just as good as I did. And that's the benefit for those of you who want to expand or grow your team. Instead of having 5 people on your team all do it differently because they're winging it, everybody on my team did it the same way. All right, the seller offer. The first offer is a market evaluation. So you have a seller lead. You want to go, thanks for calling, or hey, I'm reaching out to you because you were on our website. You indicated that you were interested in your home's value, or you called on a particular one of our Brian's marketing campaigns. Whenever you have a seller lead, personal referral, doesn't matter the source. When would be a good time for me to come by, take a look at your home so I can give you a market evaluation and show you what other properties like yours have been selling for? Well, we're not really ready yet. We're not really sure. We think we know what our house is worth. Great, are you open to a second opinion? Maybe it's worth more than you think. Oh, really? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen your house. When can I, there's no cost, no obligation, right? So we're going, who's sensing that I am 100% focused on getting face-to-face with the buyer or face-to-face with the seller? That distinction today will change your life. Just that alone will change your life. No more screwing around, chit-chatting, trying to become their friend. I'll call you in a week. Screw that shit. Make a good offer. Offer them a market evaluation. If they go, well, you know what? Give us a call after the holiday, give us a call in the fall when the kids go back to school. We're not doing anything over the summer. We're going to the lake and we're just really busy. So then we're going to ask a setup question. Write this setup question. No problem. When the timing's better, is getting the most amount of money important to you? When the timing's better, is getting the most amount of money important to you? Yeah, it is. Well, the best time to do that is before your home goes on the market. It doesn't sound like you're in a rush, but if I could see your home, I can also make, here's the second offer. First offer was market evaluation. Second offer after the setup question is, I can also make some inexpensive recommendations and give you some tips and pointers that will help maximize your home's value when you do sell it. Who thinks that's valuable to somebody who's selling their home? So we're going to make that offer. Who thinks it's valuable to invite somebody who's considering a high school to come look at the high school? It's not hard. It's not rocket science. So I make that offer. If I can see your home, I'll give you tips, inexpensive recommendations. The third offer, and I do the second and the third combined like a boxer would do a left-right combination. So for sellers, it's the second and third offer. So the second offer is inexpensive tips, things you can do to maximize your home's value, as well as things you might be thinking of doing that you don't have to or shouldn't do that'll save you a ton of time and money. Benefit, benefit, benefit. Have I asked any qualifying questions so far? Nope,
No.
I'm just going for the appointment. There's no cost, no obligation. So that's risk reversal. I always throw that in. There's no obligation to list your home, no obligation to use us. There's no cost for the service. And it works like magic. And then the fourth offer is, we'll also give you a detailed breakdown of what the 17 different expenses are associated with selling a home in the state of Texas, in the state of Louisiana, in the state of Oregon. We'll give you a detailed breakdown of the 17 different or 12 or however many expenses there are. We'll give you a detailed breakdown of what those are so you know what you'd have left for whatever your future plans may be. Doesn't sound like you're in a rush. Everybody write that down. That one is magic. It's magic because most people you talk to are not in a rush. They're not in a rush. They're in a want. They want to look for homes. They want to sell their home, but they're not in a huge rush. So when you say that, your language is talking to the right way. So it doesn't sound like you're in a rush. We don't need to get together today. Next week, Tuesday's the 4th of July. How about after the 4th? Could I come by after the 4th? Or did you want to do this sooner? So you give them a choice. No, after the 4th would be really good. Pick a day. Don't do this shit too, by the way, gang. Would next Thursday, the 7th at 3 or 5 be better? Ugh. Reeks of commission breath. Reeks of commission breath. I ask them, what's good for you? Because if I say Thursday, 3 or 5, and they go, can't do Thursday. My son plays football. Like you've made it more difficult. And then you go, okay, well, how about Saturday morning? Nope, can't do Saturday either. Who wants to be put in that trap? So just go, what's good for you? And they go, can you do Sunday? If you can't do Sunday, you go, I couldn't do Sunday, but I can do any other day. What else works for you? Do you guys follow me? Really easy. And then afterwards, and this is very important, after you book the appointment, you're going to ask 13 qualifying questions. Who can tell me why I'm asking so many qualifying questions? Why am I asking 13 questions? Brian, that's a lot.
Set yourself apart from the other agents.
Right. Great job, David. To be more thorough, to demonstrate I know more. I leave nothing by chance. Because their brain is going to go, man, David Thorndike, he's good. My sister, who told me my house was worth $700,000, didn't ask any of those questions. David's really good. So the winning starts at the qualifying, but you got to do things in the right order and the right sequence. So step number 1, go for the appointment. How do you get the appointment? You make offers. How many offers? Up to 4. You might not have to make 4. Now, let me just demonstrate. We've got a few minutes left. If I go through the whole buyer script, it's less than 2 minutes. If I go through the whole seller script, it's less than 2 minutes. Buyer, I'll do both sides. I'll do buyer and me. So I'll be me, Brian Moses, real estate agent, and I'll also be a kind of difficult buyer. Because if you're prepared for the most difficult scenarios, you're really good, right? If Landon's prepared for blitzing linebackers, he's going to be better than if he's not. So we're going to be prepared for the blitz. And then when they're not blitzing, Landon's got all day and a week to throw the football. 7 points for the good guys. You guys follow me, for you sports fans? It's the same in real estate. Be prepared for no, 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 and get all the way through the script. John Plant did a great job of this. John did what I'm about to do. He recorded both sides of it. He recorded himself as the agent. He also recorded the buyer. Here's what it would sound like. Ring, ring. Hello. Hi, Bob. Yes, this is Bob. Hi, Bob. This is Brian Moses from ABC Real Estate. And the reason I'm calling is you were on our site looking at properties in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm curious, are you only interested in Nashua, or are you open to other great, incredible, amazing deals as well in the surrounding areas? Well, you know, Brian, we really prefer Nashua, but we would be open to Merrimack. Oh, fantastic. Merrimack's a great town. I grew up in Merrimack. Awesome. So Nashua and Merrimack. The reason I ask, Bob, is because at our office, we have a buyer advantage program. And if we know where you're looking, what price range, what style, what amenities are important to you, we can give you instant, real-time priority access to all the great deals in Nashua and Merrimack that meet your criteria. It's like having a backstage pass to all the best deals with interior pictures, days on market, and other useful seller information. Would that be useful? Well, Brian, yeah, that sounds really good, but my wife's in the hospital and we put things on hold for a couple of months. She's doing okay, don't worry about it, but you know, whoever has had a buyer just go on and on and on. So you listen and you go, you continue with the script. Hey, Bob, I'm curious, when the timing's better for you and your wife, and by the way, my condolences, I wish her a speedy recovery. When the timing's more appropriate, is getting a good deal important to you? Well, yeah, Brian, of course it is. That's kind of a crazy question. Who wouldn't want a good deal? Well, the reason I ask is because our list includes great deals like bank foreclosures, corporate-owned properties, distressed sales, probates, sellers in trouble, recent price reductions, people going through divorce who are forced to sell by the courts. So if getting a good deal is important to you, can you see the benefits of getting access to these types of great properties? Holy shit, yeah, that sounds really good. Hey, Bob, do you know what the best part of this is? What's that, Brian? There's no obligation to buy a home or even look at a home. But since you are looking, this is a great service to move you to the front of the line. Well, Brian, why don't I give you a call? What's your phone number? And I'll give you a call back when my wife's a little bit better. Yeah, I can give you my phone number. Let me ask you, Bob, how are you finding properties right now? Oh, well, we're looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, other websites. Fantastic. Those sites are a good sampling of inventory. Have you ever looked at a property and found it to be sold or under contract or no longer available? Oh yeah, it happens all the time. It's super frustrating. Do you know why that is, Bob? It's because those sites are the last sites to receive the inventory when they become available. Our site is the first site. So if getting a good deal is important to you, can you see the advantages of being front of the line versus back of the line? Hey, Brian, you got a good point. You know what, Bob? It sounds like you got a lot going on and there's no urgency for us to get together. How about after the holiday? Got your calendar handy? Maybe the week after the 4th? Yeah, I could do that. Great. And I booked the appointment. That was roughly 2 minutes. Is everybody good? That's how the call goes. And then it's 2 more minutes to qualify it. Hey, Bob, so that I can do a great job when we get together, I got a few questions to ask. You got a couple minutes right now? No, Brian, I can't talk right now. I'm running in to see my wife at the hospital. Okay, when can I call you and get these questions answered so that I can start preparing for when we get together? And I asked the question. I got to get the questions asked before the call. Was this helpful, gang? What'd you learn? Give me some shares. What'd you learn? Anybody? Don't be shy.
That definitely helped me understand how to do the setups a lot easier. Because doing it, like pulling up the script and gradually getting used to it and trying to memorize as best as possible. The way you did it actually was smooth. Like it was actually very impressive. Because now I'm going to use that way you did it in a lot easier way. Because when I get interrupted a lot, I'll sometimes have to go off script to answer certain questions, and then trying to get back into the script is like one of the hardest things for me to do. So I'm working on that.
Fantastic. Well, gang, I hope that this was valuable. For those of you that are new to my training, meaning you're not a coaching client, you're not an inner circle member, you're not in my EXP organization. So if you're not in any of those and you'd like access to more trainings like this, email me personally, brian@brianmoses.com, brian@brianmoses.com, and I'll reach out and show you how you can get access to free training with me. And it's not coaching, it's training. Does everybody understand the difference? See, coaching would be, hey, Landon, you need to develop your arm strength. You need to be more accurate. No shit, that's a coach, right? But how do you develop your arm strength? How do you become more accurate? How do you have better footwork? That's where the training comes in and the specific direction. And that's what today was. Today was training. And it should feel very different than any coaching you've had in the past or anything else that you've been involved in, because it should answer the questions and show you what to do and how to do it in the precise order and sequence to do it. So great to meet you all. Great to have my veterans here with us today. It was awesome. Have a great Independence Day. I don't say 4th of July. My father was a veteran in World War II. It's not a holiday for us. Okay, there's a reason that we're celebrating our independence. And much of it is because of the veterans and the people who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. So enjoy it, appreciate it, be proud to be an American. God bless you, God bless us, God bless the USA. Have an incredible Independence Day. It was a privilege to be with you guys. Have a great day.
Good stuff.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You bet.